Welcome to Pod Watcher, the official podcast of Watcher Entertainment. I'm Ryan Bergara.
I'm Shane Madej.
And I'm Stephen Lim.
And this is a show where we chat about whatever's on our minds every week. This week we dive into Bigfoot.
Cherry tomatoes.
And haircuts.
All right. Cool.
You don't have this memorized by now, Ryan?
Look, I'm doing a lot of shows here. There's so many
fair.
intros. So little time.
Reading the copy off of it.
Oh, dude. Yeah, and I also have a timer here, just so I know how long we're going.
Okay, well, I wanted to point that out because you're looking at your phone, so I'm like, is he texting right now?
No, I'm just browsing.
He's not texting.
I don't know.
Why would he be texting?
But it doesn't.
Checking my
It
fantasy
comes
team.
across that way on camera, where they're like, "Oh, he's on his phone."
I haven't seen one person in the comments be like, "Why is Ryan on Twitter or Twix?" That's
To
what
be
we call it.
fair,
Stop trying to make Twix happen.
Twix is going to happen.
to be fair, there was a time in the pandemic when we were on a Zoom call, and Shane tweeted something out
Yeah, Shane was tweeting while we were
during the
podcasting.
call. But to be fair to that, I also saw the tweet while we were
laughed
on
and
the
laughed,
call.
yeah.
So I was also on Twitter.
It wasn't a call; it was a podcast.
I
And
mean,
that was when
you're
we were
going to rag
doing-
on me for tweeting during the pandemic? That's all I did.
You were tweeting during a recording.
I don't know, it was probably a bad show. Whoa, we were recording one of the podcast episodes that we took down, that we deleted from our podcast channel.
Unprofessional.
For those of you who are watching the video, you'll notice that it is dark here, and that's because the power's out at Watcher HQ.
That's right.
But we're forging on regardless because we want to deliver the quality content you've come to expect. And fortuitously, this should be releasing right around Halloween. So
This
it's
is-
kind of a spooky vibe.
This is going to be releasing a day before Halloween when you guys listen to this. So really, we did this on purpose. Yeah, that's exactly what we did. Everything runs on batteries here, so we got very lucky.
Yeah.
Well,
Even
everything that-
Stephen Lim.
Even Steven.
Man, my battery, it's dying. I'll tell you what, I wish I could do a human reset for my body and my battery.
Like a hard reset.
Just, yeah.
How
would
would
you-
want to die and be reborn? As a
That'd be
baby?
amazing.
No, I think he's talking about, when your like iPhone or your router goes off and you have to do a hard reset, you unplug it and
What's
plug it
that
back
thing
in.
where they tell you they're like, unplug it, but make sure it's turned, don't plug it back in for 30 seconds.
15 seconds.
So
20.
Why
Why do we all
Wait.
have a different number for that?
Let me tell you what happened this morning.
Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
I was like, I need to reset my battery. It's so stupid.
Tammy hard reset him.
I woke up, went to the bathroom, turned on the faucet.
Okay, you don't need to do it all. You don't need to tell us everything.
No, this is
Yeah.
it. This is it right here.
Pick the lint out of my belly button.
That happens only on Wednesdays.
It's belly
And I
button
put
cleaning
my
day.
Belly button
I put
Wednesdays.
toothpaste on my toothbrush and I put it under the sink,
Yeah.
but I put it under the wrong sink, but I could hear the faucet.
What
And
do you mean the wrong sink?
so we have two sinks in our master
A
bedroom.
good one and a bad one?
Oh, fancy.
The his and her.
One for Pepsi?
One for Tammy, one for Steven.
Okay.
And I just put it under the wrong sink for like 5 seconds. Like, why is it not getting wet? And it's because I could hear the other one, so I registered my brain the other one was on, and I was confused why it wasn't. Like, that's how stupid I've become. Like, how much?
Become, huh?
I didn't say it.
That's how much I need to reset. My brain, no good.
If you had to hard reset, Steven, how would you do it? Is that what the belly button lint picking is for? Is that how you is that how Tammy hard resets you?
Have you ever picked your belly button so hard that it started bleeding?
No.
Nope. Can't say that I have.
Me
done
neither.
that.
Me neither. Yeah.
Feels like you have.
No, I have definitely not.
That just
what are we
came out
talking
of-
about right
That
now?
was just pure
Makes me
imagination.
want to barf. The
There's
thought of
other
that.
things that happen when I pick my belly button, but we don't have to get into that. Anyways, why don't we hop into
Yes.
a topic here, Steven? I'm actually curious. Let's start with you.
Oh, the haircut. Well,
First off, also, we got to acknowledge the abomination that's on your face here.
excuse me?
Steven, I actually like the mustache. And so he
Are we just
decided.
only going to talk about mustaches in this podcast?
They have to know, because like if you're not watching the video version of this podcast, listener, he cut off his mustache but kept the beard portion.
And I'm gonna say this, and I'll say it once.
Like Jack Black in High
I don't curse
Fidelity.
often. I fucked up.
Yeah, no shit.
I was.
you were trimming.
I was deciding which one to keep and which one to go.
Oh,
and I
brother.
realized
I could have told you
after
that.
I cut the I was like, I should have kept the mustache and got
Yeah.
rid of the beard.
Yeah, you should.
Because I wanted to do a slow delivery to the podcast of one going after the other. I also thought about doing like half.
You
That
look
would've
like you
been a
sell
choice.
slow delivery THC now. You look like you sell edibles for a living. It's
Yeah.
a strange look.
You don't like it?
I can't say I love it, but look, I'm not
Hey,
married
chime
to
off
you.
in the comments. Leave an Apple review. Let me know what you
Please
think about this.
Don't let your Apple review for this podcast
No, you can still rate
reflect Steven's facial hair.
the review.
We
and
don't
the
want
rating
1-star reviews for the podcast.
Yeah, that's it's an interesting choice.
Yeah, it was the wrong choice.
But you're here to talk about haircuts.
Yes.
It's going to be always a hair theme with you.
Well, so I don't know what to talk about in this podcast. I mull over topics the entire week. Like it
I picked mine a week
haunts
ago.
me what to talk about in this podcast.
I usually pick mine as I'm walking in the door.
Yeah, that's
I
the difference
messaged
of
you
all
guys
of
a
us.
week ago on Slack. I said, don't let me forget to talk about cherry tomatoes.
I don't recall the Slack at all.
I do.
Let me
recall
pull
the
it up.
Slack.
Pull up the receipts.
I remember you responded to it. You were like, haha. Okay. I actually don't remember what you said.
I don't remember anything I say anymore.
It's fair.
There's too many mediums of it being recorded. That's why I have all these shows, is because it's so that I could remember what I'm saying.
I said, remind me for the next pod that I have something to say about cherry tomatoes. Ryan said, LOL.
Oh, yeah,
I
that
got
was
it.
my
Did
response.
Did that make you eat?
I don't think I responded.
No, when I respond LOL, all lowercase, it's usually like a, all right. All right, man.
You roll out the stressed passive aggressive LOL a lot.
Yeah, I do.
Anytime I see Ryan with an LOL, I'm like, yikes. I hate the passive aggressive LOL.
Wait, that's so real for Ryan, especially.
It's a weapon that
Anytime
I
Ryan
use a lot.
says LOL, he's on the verge of crying with rage. Like-
it's a tool that I use often from my toolbox. Anyways, let's get into your haircut.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about it. The only thing that is in the last 3 years, my wife has given me all of my haircuts.
Yeah.
And she's gotten way better over time. She gave me one last night, so if you wanted to see what the work that she does,
Did she have fun with it?
I tell her, do whatever you want.
Go nuts.
Hey, and then I regret it sometimes. But I just want her to have fun. I don't really care. She's the one who has to look at me, so I let her do what she wants. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think?
It looks pretty good.
Is
Yeah?
this a money saving measure, or is this just
Time,
for
money.
funsies?
It's a bonding activity. It's it's quality time. It's
I guess.
it is money saving.
I love Mari.
And I'm lazy. I don't want to leave the house.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
Mari, but I'd never let her touch my head. There's no way. No way in hell that I let her with the
The
scissors
problem,
come near.
okay, and the real thing I want to talk about is the real problem is I have a hard time finding someone I can trust with my hair.
I have not found a good stylist in LA for the 9 years that I've been here. There was one person I went to for a while, and then eventually, I'm not going to name the business, but they cut the back of my neck with a razor and made me bleed. And then
remember
they tried
this.
to like cover it up.
Oh my god!
You actually showed up to an Unsolved shoot complaining about the back of your neck, and I was like, what happened? You're like, my barber cut
He
me.
cut me, and then I've just never found a place since then. I've gone to, I just bop around, and I've never, and it's a toss up between the quality of the haircut and also the quality of the conversation.
Yes.
Because I find myself, I can chat, but sometimes when it's up to me to solely propel the conversation, I find that annoying.
Mhm.
And if they don't talk at all, fine with that. But sometimes they'll talk like once every 5 to 10 minutes.
That's
I'll
weird.
be like, "Dude, stop it!" And then like sometimes it'll fall into silence for a bit.
Yeah.
It's all very stressful for me. I've had a few people who I've gone to here and there, but I just wish I had one person.
I did have one person in LA who cut my hair really well, and then she one day decided to stop cutting hair,
Damn.
and I have never had the right person ever
it's really
since.
rough.
I get my hair cut by David Dang. He's a good.
Oh, you do?
He's very good.
That's like the try guy.
Yeah, he's
right?
Eugene's dude.
I think like all of them go to David Dang.
He's a good haircut guy.
I mean, your hair
Haircut guy.
is pristine, so I actually
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
glad to hear that.
Maybe
I should go to him.
did he? I have questions about when this guy cut your neck, the back of your neck.
Take it away.
Did he say anything when it happened?
No,
Like
so it was
like a
near-
whoops. Did he go? Oh shit!
No, it was near the end of the haircut.
Gotcha.
At the end, he usually takes a straight razor,
Oh boy,
To
yeah.
sort
Those
of,
always
like,
freak me out anyway.
sort of get the edges.
Ooh.
To line you up.
And they usually do a thing in the middle where they put like the paper wrap around your neck.
Yeah,
I don't know why they do that.
it's always itchy. It makes
Just
my
to
neck
get the
feel
hair
very
off of
itchy.
it.
So he had already done that, and then he was doing that and with the straight razor,
Yeah.
and it felt like a scrape. You
Gotcha.
know?
Oh, I know what you mean.
So
Yeah.
I didn't like react. I was like, that felt like a scrape, but like it didn't feel like a cut.
Mhm.
And then he seemed rattled
Yeah.
in a way that
Yeah.
so normally at the end they do that thing where they take the mirror and show you the back of your head.
For a second there, I wasn't sure what you were doing because you lifted your hand up and I was like, he takes the straight razor and then.
No, they do that thing where they take the mirror and show you the back.
Yeah, I remember. I know that.
And before he did that, he took out more of the paper and put it around my neck again to like hide it.
Wait, who would do this?
Because he was embarrassed.
I think he was, he takes pride in what he does.
Clearly.
He gave some great haircuts. I just couldn't. And so then he showed me the back with the paper on, and I was like, uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then
Mummified him.
And then he was like, all right. And he like took it off and he put some like aftershave on, and I was like, oh, he definitely cut me because that
Stings.
really stings
that
like
really
a motherfucker.
smarts.
And I got outside afterwards. I was like, did he actually cut me? I just put my hand on the back of my neck and there was just blood on my hand. I was like, oh, fuck.
This is a good litmus test in general because I'm curious, when they put the little mirror to the back of your head, how often are you actually making an adjustment? Because how you respond to that is probably how you respond to do you ever send back food? Because if
it's too late.
I'm too anxious and too like much of a anti-conflict or confrontation that when people show me the back of my head, I'm usually like, if I don't like it, I just kind of keep it to myself.
Does anybody ever tell the truth there?
Well, there's also like a point of no return when it comes to
Exactly.
the haircut, where in the back, if they've done something to the back, I'm like, well, they can't add hair.
That's true.
Sometimes they'll do the thing. I don't know how hard it is for people to understand, because like I don't like when I have like a really sharp edge on the back. I like a nice taper,
I like a taper too.
I like
kinda.
a taper.
Well, hang on. Let's take a break, and then we'll come back. And we're back.
There's so many haircut people where I'm like, can you taper the back? Where there's not a straight edge and it's more of a taper, and they're like, yes, a taper, and then they don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
So when they show you the mirror, though,
like,
that's an
well.
opportunity for you to go, could you actually taper that
But
more?
then at that point, sometimes it's so high up that a taper at that point,
Oh, I see what
starting
you're saying.
from the new edge that they've decided to make. I think this isn't interesting to people.
I think
No,
it is.
Okay.
Because do you send back food?
I don't know that I have, but I don't know that I've ever had food that was so bad that I've been like, send this back. I've sent back
What if there's
drinks
a bug
before.
in there?
You've sent back a drink before. That's
yeah, but that's
surprising.
primarily if it's like, this is not what I imagined, or it's like really. There was someplace recently, I forgot where I was, but I ordered a cocktail and I was like, hey, I really don't like this.
Drinks are more acceptable though.
And
I don't think-
it was a beer. It was a beer. I was at.
Okay,
I was
that's
actually.
interesting.
That's super.
I was
weird.
actually at a.
That is weird.
Well, no, because it was like a lager or
face.
something, but it tasted like really sweet.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, can I went up to the bar. I was like, I really don't like this. And he was like, oh, is it the, and he knew exactly what it was. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah, I'll get you something else. I was like, do people not like this? He's like, people don't
Yeah,
like
people
it.
hate it.
Yeah.
It's,
So what if there's a fly in your food? Or
Well, then
like
I'd
a
send it
bug?
back.
then you
Okay,
can,
yeah,
then you
so
can, I'm always,
there's a threshold.
yeah, I
would send it back.
But taste-wise,
I probably would. There's a very famous story, not famous, but well-known story among Shane, this
Is
group
this
of
when
people.
you guys were traveling and you fell asleep?
No, it's when I walked into my hotel room.
Oh, and the bed was like,
The bed was not made.
there was a poop in the toilet.
There was a name tag on the bed, and there was a poop in the toilet. And this was like my first commercial gig that I had booked. And the production company had put me up in this hotel. And I walked in there, and I didn't want to be a bother or a nuisance and be like seen as some sort of like diva talent dude. So I
think
I
in
just
that
flushed the toilet.
situation, I would have no issue because one, the hotel's not going to tell the people who booked it. They're not going to be like, Ryan Bergara's changed rooms.
Yeah, he's a real pain in the ass. So I just flushed it and then just slept on the other side of the
Oh
bed.
my
That's
god!
insane.
And the worst part was the guy had a name tag on the bed. He was some dude who went to some conference. So I saw the face of my offender. Who
What
had
did he
left,
look like?
He looked like a guy who had truly left a Matterhornian shit.
Gosh,
Like this thing was above sea level.
was this
a real
Mari?
a real steamer. No, this was with Mari. I told this story to Mari, and she was so angry at me.
I was about to say she would never let this happen.
No, she was like,
I can imagine her just saying, Ryan.
Yes, she said. She was like, that is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. And I was like, I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't want any problems. But it's crazy about the haircut story because I can't think of it's when it comes to people being allowed to say whoops in the middle of their job.
Yeah.
Barbers are probably top 3, right? It's barbers, pilots, surgeons. Those are the 3 people you don't want to hear whoops from when they're doing their job.
Yeah.
I can't think of anyone that comes even close to those 3. I guess a dentist.
I wish he just would have owned up to me. I did actually.
If he said whoops, it would have been funny.
I went back. It was a weird place because there was a weird there's a weird power dynamic between the barbers and the customers. It was very militarized. In the way that like they'd be like, all right, and you'd like walk up there and sometimes you'd chat. You know, an old car would go by outside and all the barbers would be like, they'd like lean over to check it out. So it was like a very masculine place. And I never felt right there. And I went back like 2 or 3 years after that happened. And I was like, is this going to be weird? And when I walked in, it was like he'd seen a ghost. It was like Scrooge seeing Jacob Marley walk in.
He was hoping you never. You're a reminder of his mistake.
But then when I walked back in, I suddenly felt like, okay, the ball's in my court now, baby. Even though it always has been, it never felt like it did. And then I never went back again because I was like, I have too much power there. I don't want to cause fear like that ever again.
I'm also embarrassed to just say when I don't like a haircut. I hate when a stylist says like, "Hey, what do you think?" at the end.
Well, how can you say you don't
I think
like
I
it?
like 1 out of every 4 haircuts I get.
Yeah, I would until I started getting my haircut by David Dang. I felt the same way.
I even
even the haircuts that I wasn't a fan of in the moment that, like, for instance, I got my haircut by David Dank for my wedding, and he cut it a little shorter than I thought I wanted, and I was freaking out silently.
How much? What was the window? Like, when did you get it cut?
I got it cut maybe like a week before the wedding.
Oof, that's cutting it close.
And I was like, looking,
literally cutting it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And I was looking in the mirror.
Chat.
I'm sure you've had this. Oh my God,
Don't
Edward
tell Danny.
Scissorhands himself. And I could see that the hair was getting shorter and shorter, and I was in my mind going, it's pretty short.
Yeah.
And then
your hair looked great on your wedding day.
And then after the haircut, I went home and I was like, dude, this haircut's amazing.
Yeah.
So even like he's so good at what he does that even like the haircut that I wasn't sure I wanted, he gave me what I didn't know I wanted.
When I got my haircut for my wedding, I went like I think a week and a half to 2 weeks beforehand.
That's probably what I should have done.
And the person who was cutting my hair, I think she'd cut my hair once or twice before. So there was a familiarity, but not super, because I think I'd gone to her like once or twice over the course of a year. So I didn't go to her every time. But she was like, "Oh, anything?" I was like, "Oh, I'm getting it." I didn't want to like put pressure on her, so I was like, "I'm getting it cut for a wedding." And she was like, "Oh, nice." And we were chit-chatting, and then like she took me over to like get my hair washed.
Yeah,
you know,
I love that part.
And then when I was laying back, she was like, "So, who's getting married?" I was like, "Oh, I am
me."
And she was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah, I'd be pretty pissed too.
And I was like, "Yeah, I just didn't want to put the pressure on you, because like, you know, she doesn't cut my hair all the time, so I don't want to suddenly be like, the pressure's on." And she was like, "You know, you're like the 5th guy who has done this to me. Who who has told me like, oh yeah, like in the middle of or at the end of a haircut, like it was for my wedding. Thanks."
I wonder if she knew. I wonder if she just felt it.
Yeah, maybe.
Knowing that you said that.
Yeah.
How do I keep this fucking screen from turning off? Because it keeps turning off. Is there like a setting?
There's a setting you can do. One last thing I'll say about haircuts.
Yeah, while you do that, I'm going to figure this out.
This actually has turned into quite a rich conversation, Stephen, and I thank you for bringing it to the table.
To the people, to you, you're welcome. It reminded me of haircuts that I got growing up and how much I hated them. I used to go to Great Clips.
I went to Great Clips.
Great Clips. Is that a Midwest thing?
Maybe.
Do they have Great Clips out here?
No, but I went to Sport Clips.
Okay, it's probably like the same.
I wasn't allowed at Sport Clips.
because you didn't.
We
like
did have
sports?
those, yeah.
Is it for sporty looks or?
No, it's not for sporty.
It's for sporty looks. Don't they have like sports on?
They have
while you're
sports on. When you get there, they're like,
Oh, I would have loved sports
there?
clips.
Sporty looks is a good name for a haircut place.
I'm in the market for a sporty look. Where should I go?
Sporty looks.
No, they play sports there,
like
and then
athletes
when you
only.
get there, they're like, "Hey, you want a beer, dude?" And then like you're like, "Yeah, I want a beer."
Yeah,
So you
I'm
drink
16.
a beer while you're.
That was another thing I went to. And Steven, I'll let you. I
no
just want
worries.
to. There was a place that I tried in LA at one point. Who I think it was either Adam or Andrew Elnicki suggested.
They also both
Floyd's?
hate
Was it
their
Floyd's?
like they
No, it
both
wasn't Floyd's.
have never liked their haircuts.
No, they haven't.
But that's
Um,
because they're just people who
they're
are
picky
very
boys.
particular.
And I went to a place. I think it was over in Echo Park, where it was like a sporty place, where but not like sport clips. It was like more like an old like wooden place. A lot of, and you walked in and they were like, "You want a beer?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll have a beer." And there was a Dodgers game going. It might have been the World Series or something.
Nice.
And I was waiting out front, and they were like, "Oh, it's gonna be 10 or 15 minutes. The game's on in the back." I was like, "I'm good," and they were like, "Oh, all right." And I was like, "I guess I'm not coming back here."
It's a weird thing that guys often talk about, which is like, where do you get your hair cut? Because most guys, I did a video about this back at BuzzFeed about most guys hating their hair and not really knowing where to go. It is something that my friend group texts all the time. Like we will text like a review, went to this place, don't go there.
Ryan, the way that the light is hitting your face right now, it looks like you're wearing sort of like a Catwoman mask.
Oh, nice.
Pretty great.
It's really good.
Pretty great.
What were you gonna say about great clips?
So I've always hated my haircuts growing up, like just every single one. And I think looking back, the reason is because, and you may relate to this if you are like an ethnic minority, but I think it's because my hair as an Asian person is just like different than all of the people around me.
Yeah.
And so like the barbers that I grew up around, they didn't know how to cut like very straight, coarse hair.
That's how my hair is.
They also didn't know like Asian hairstyles though, like
Yeah.
things that look good on Asian faces and Asian hair. And then I think for the first time where I really felt like I got a good haircut was when I moved to LA and I was getting hair and makeup done for a shoot that we did. I don't know if you remember this, but Kane
Yeah, I do remember
did an
this.
Asian American like Vogue shoot.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And it was like the first time where I saw like, oh, all Asian like makeup artists and like all Asian like camera people. So they knew how to like light our faces and like do the right makeup. And I was like, whoa, I like feel like I look good for the first time like ever.
That's cool.
But I just bring that up because it is, you know, it is important to find somebody who understands, and it goes more layers deep than just like having an education in haircutting. It's like, okay, do you understand the person that you're cutting the hair for?
Yeah, Mari often has that issue as well.
You know, Sarah's got curly hair.
Very,
It's
very curly
very
hair.
Tricky to find a good person.
Let's go to your cherry tomatoes.
There's a new grocery store that opened up.
Is that why you wear the red beanie, by the way?
What?
You wear the red beanie because of the cherry tomato?
No, you know what? My hair's getting kind of shaggy lately,
I don't want to say anything.
and it gets difficult to style. And I remembered that when I put on a beanie in the morning, it just sort of gives it sort of a natural waviness and stuff.
Ooh, let's see.
Wow, that's
I mean,
like
I
a
don't
cheat
know.
Well,
code.
it's kind of hard to. No, he's right. That is how it happens.
It just keeps it. Otherwise, it can get like we were just
Yeah.
talking. I have very like straight, coarse hair, so it just
Wait, how do you? Sorry to go back to hair, but how do you keep it wavy? Is it the beanie?
The beanie
The
makes
beanie
it
does do
pretty
that.
wavy and.
Is that why you wear the beanie?
Well, no, I wear like a beanie
We're
or
talking about
like
hair again.
I'll wrap up. I'll wrap up again, like wrap up like a t-shirt on my head after I take a shower to dry it. And when
Oh
you
my
do that,
God.
it gives it texture.
If I don't do anything to my hair, it's like a helmet.
Oh my
It's
god!
like a just a full like
like
helmet.
a Darth Vader helmet,
Yeah, basically.
so like a dickhead.
Oh, it's more like not Velma. Velma? Am I thinking of Velma?
Oh, Velma, you're thinking of Velma, yeah, from Scooby Doo.
Is Velma the babe? No, that's
No,
Daphne.
Velma's the
yeah,
smart
it's like
one.
it's like
I know Shane has the hots for Daphne.
I mean they're all babes, really.
Scooby Doo.
Scooby too. Yeah. I'll kiss that dog.
Okay.
Well,
let's take a break really quick here.
All right.
And then we'll be right back.
and we're back.
And we're back.
No, you know what? The other morning I put my little beanie on because it's like 90 in LA, but elsewhere it's autumn, autumnal vibes.
Yeah.
And my friend Patrick Powers that day said, "You know what? It's the first day of the beanie for me." And I said, "Me too." We didn't even
That's cool.
coordinate, but anyway, so it's beanie time for me. But there's a new grocery store that opened in Los Angeles called Lazy Acres.
Huh. I like the name of it.
It's on Western.
Sounds like a campsite.
It's on Western, but Lazy Acres, they say, our new Los Feliz store. It's not Los Feliz. It's not Los Feliz.
What is that like? Filipino town?
Oh, yeah. I guess so.
probably?
What's over there? Like Thai town?
No, I guess Thai town.
Yeah, Western would be like Thai Town.
Yeah.
It's not that far from here, actually.
It's basically Hollywood.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
Thai town's, I think, a little east of Western.
I used to get my hair cut in Thai Town because it was $7.
Nice.
And I went there for years. Most of me being a BuzzFeed, I went to Thai Town, this one little shop.
I went to
and I liked them because they didn't talk the entire time because they didn't speak English.
That's nice.
And that was like the cheat code for me. Anyways, enough about hair because I don't like
Wait,
it.
if they don't speak English, how do you tell them what you want?
I showed them a picture.
Okay.
And then they cut my hair, and then it's a silent haircut because there's no possibility of us talking, and I don't have to feel bad about making the effort to make small talk because
nice.
Haircuts.
We're back to haircuts.
They relax me.
Hey,
They
I'm
make
sorry.
me very
just
sleepy.
Banger topics, man. I'm sorry.
I love haircuts. All right, sorry. Keep going with your cherry tomatoes and Lazy Acres.
I have no need for Lazy Acres. I've got wonderful grocery stores near my home.
Wait,
Is this you just trying to do a takedown of a local business?
No. I have no need for it, but it's a charming facade that they have on the outside of the stores.
I like that. I do love a facade.
It's called Lazy Acres. It's an organic store, of which there are plenty in Los Angeles. There's a chain called Lassen's, which is also a popular organic
I've never been
store.
in there. Is that what that is?
So I was like, there was a few weeks ago, there was a dinner recipe that I had stumbled across on New York Times Cooking, and I was like, I'm gonna make this tonight. I'll stop by Lazy Acres on my way home to check it out. I want to see the vibes there.
Yeah.
And I went in.
Jesus Christ, sounds traumatic.
And the parking lot was not a great situation.
No parking lot. Well, are we talking like Trader Joe's level? Because a Trader Joe's parking lot in Los Angeles, the only thing that comes close to being as bad as it is a Costco parking lot.
Oh my God.
Costco parking lots.
I went to Costco after New Year's this year, the first Saturday of the year.
Mistake.
My brother had a membership, and Sarah was really excited to go.
No, Costco's incredible.
And
the parking lot's a fucking war.
It's not. It's a parking lot outside the. Costco parking lots are amazing.
When I went there this year, it was really nasty.
It's usually bad.
Is it
because it's full?
And I'll tell you what, when we went there, the people in the Costco were absolute. Every single one of them was a fucking asshole.
Animals inside there.
And
the
not
employees?
even in a way that I tend to give people the benefit of the doubt in this life that I lead, and assume that all human beings are deep down, hopefully there's a shred of decency in them. And that was not the case at the Costco in Glendale or Burbank, wherever it is over there. People just shoving you with their carts.
What?
Shoving you.
Yeah.
You're like, get out of my way.
Maybe you were in the way.
I wasn't.
There's deals to be had. Get out of the way.
It was fucked up, man.
The Costco I love.
They needed to buy 82 eggs.
Sarah and Scott bought so many things. Sarah and my brother, they bought so many things at Costco, and they had such a great time. And when we got back, Sarah was like, we'll have to do that again sometime. And I was like, I'm not going.
I like going to Costco.
You and Scott can go and have the time of your lives, but I'm never stepping foot in that store ever.
I love it.
I feel like you did something, Shane. I'm sorry.
No.
Costco, I'm not going to let you slander Costco.
Yeah,
Go there on the first Saturday of 2024.
That's the problem, probably.
It was the problem.
Well, you're going on a bad day. But Costco's in general inside are amazing. You get great deals. You could buy bulk items. You could buy like 82
Did you get a hot dog?
Oh, you could buy a hot
Did
dog
you get a
for
hot dog,
50
Shane?
cents or whatever.
I don't need to go there for hot dogs.
Yes, you
I can
do.
get those at Home Depot and IKEA.
Yeah,
Home
but the hot dogs at
Depot.
Costco.
You've never had a Home Depot hot dog from the parking lot?
Oh, in
It's
the
okay.
parking lot.
They're
the
okay.
parking lot.
They're not
Okay.
hot. They're not Costco.
That's like a
The Costco hot dogs are not that good.
The pizza at Costco.
No, I've had that. It's not that
Incredible.
good. It's not
It's
incredible.
not that good.
I
It's just
love
cheap.
it. I grew up on it.
It's
It's
just
amazing.
cheap.
I try to park at Lazy Acres. It's a situation. I go in, I'm getting my stuff for dinner. I've got my whole basket full of stuff.
Yeah.
The last thing I need is cherry tomatoes. I look around the vegetable section. I see tomatoes. I see a bunch of other stuff. They don't have any cherry tomatoes. I don't have any cherry tomatoes. I walked up to one of the people there, and I was like, where's the...
Why'd you say people like that? One of the people there. Like, you almost said it as if you put their name in quotations, like people. Do aliens work at this store?
I was like, where do you guys have your cherry tomatoes? And he was like, I don't think we have those. I don't think.
And then Shane said that's a mistake and raised a pistol up.
Well, I was like, okay. And I took everything in my basket, put it back, and I left the store.
No, you didn't
buy anything from
I'm
it.
just imagining you saying, okay, so pissy. Just like, you have any cherry tomatoes? No, sorry, we don't have those.
What grocery store doesn't have cherry tomatoes?
Okay.
I was so offended that they didn't carry them that I was like, I'm not giving them any of my money. Have you ever done that? I've been in stores before.
Met Shane Madej today at my work.
So this isn't
he asked me about cherry tomatoes. I told him we didn't have any, and he said okay, and then laughed and left the store.
I mean, in my defense, I did put everything back where I got it from.
You took the time to put everything back.
I did. I was livid. I've been at stores before where the line is too long. Like I've been buying stuff, and like I'm waiting in line for like 10 minutes. I'm like, I don't need this. And I just put the stuff back and I leave.
You have these strangest...
Who are you?
Shane, you know this about Shane, though, Steven. He has these strangest, but like absolute balk points. Like, where like if something is like... He's normally a very easygoing guy, but there are certain very hyper-specific things that if it doesn't happen the way he needs it to, he's like, I'm good. He just bounces.
I mean, the famous story that I remember is the Call of Duty one.
Yeah, the Call of Duty
That's the one
story.
where like... I get where you're coming from, Shane, but like to ghost after that,
I mean,
a team that needs. I mean, like imagine if like Sarah just ghosted you while you're playing Fortnite. You can't even play the game.
She wouldn't, but I was signing up to play Call of Duty with friends.
It was me and Matt Rial and Tristan, and we were like, hey, should we go to the barn? And Shane was like, this is too much strategy for me. I'm out of here. I don't know about the barn.
It was pretty weird. It was weird stuff.
So this story isn't about cherry tomatoes.
Like, in a way it is.
Like
they were the thing that I needed and that couldn't get.
It kind of reminds me of when I was on the search for kumquats.
Yeah.
Wait.
On that.
Did you ever make the New York Times recipe?
I ended up, no, I went to my local grocery store and ended up making a recipe that was different.
Do they not have cherry tomatoes there?
No, they do have them there.
So you left a grocery store.
To change the course of my
put
whole
back
night.
all of the ingredients, and then went to a new store to conceivably get cherry tomatoes, and then didn't even get the thing that you left the previous store
actually,
for?
You know what? No, I remember how this panned out. I went to the next grocery store that is pretty close to my apartment, and I was like, maybe that recipe's a little too involved anyway. And I was looking on my phone for a new recipe, and then Sarah called my phone, which she doesn't normally call me. So I was like, what's going on? I was like, what's up? She was like, I just cut myself. I cut myself with a knife, with the bread knife.
Oh, you told me this story.
And
I just never heard the cherry part.
What? So I was like, hang on, I'm very close to our home. And I got home and she had like a towel around her thumb. This was like mere weeks before our wedding. And she was like, I don't want to look at it because I don't know how bad it is. And I was like, show me your thumb. And she showed me, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all, but it was bleeding quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I had to take her to urgent care.
They get stitches?
She didn't have to do stitches,
That's
but
good.
she did cut off like the tip of her thumb. But it sort of plumped back, like it all came back. But it was enough where they were like, yeah, you should have come to urgent care because we had to like stop the bleeding.
What do you mean she cut off the tip of her thumb?
It was like the fleshy bit of your, like if you cut off just enough to not need stitches.
You know what though?
Cut off part of her nail, but it all grew back.
The bread knife,
like even by the wedding, like within weeks.
The bread knife.
Well,
cut
she's a fast
is the
healer.
worst
She's like Wolverine.
Possible cut you can get.
It was like, I don't know how you're cutting that bread, but we gotta go over how to hold that when you're doing it.
Is that what you said as you saw the cut? You were like, okay, now we got to talk about your knifesman
I
skills.
forgot that was the same night. Wow, the cherry tomatoes. Oh, it's a good thing. I probably would have been, at that store longer if I hadn't just...
Didn't you also have a panicked call with Sarah when you fell running and you were covered in blood, like because of your hands?
I didn't call her. I was actually, that was when I was running up near Griffith Park and I tripped
and you didn't realize you were. Well, sometimes
No,
when you
no,
trip
I
and you-
realized what was going on because I was horizontal in the air like Doctor Strange when he gets knocked out of his body. And then
or when Ebony Maw takes Doctor Strange.
and then I slid across the ground on my hands like a plane without landing gear. And I stood up, and a woman who was walking the opposite direction was like, "Holy shit, are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm fine." And I just kept running, but I was running. And I was like, "I'll look at my hands once I get to the stoplight and I can stop." Because I was like, my hands are numb right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much they're bleeding. They feel wet. Then I got to the stoplight and looked at my hands, and they were just blood.
This is also why there's certain episodes of Unsolved. I can't remember. I know for sure the Viper Room. I can't remember any others, but there's
where I'm wearing the gloves.
Shane is wearing fingerless gloves because his hands are just
They were
scabbed.
scabs.
Oh my god.
No, in that instance, I was like, I'm glad that Sarah's not home because she was out, I think, grabbing drinks with somebody or something.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want her to be there when I disinfect my hands or wash them because I'm probably going to scream. And I did. I screamed.
Dude,
My hands are really fucked up.
that's incredible.
I don't have patience for grocery stores like that. My other balking point along those lines is when I'm at a register and people have questions for the people behind the register. Or they're
I
like,
see.
does that everything bagel have poppy seeds on? It's like, I don't think anyone should spend more than 40 seconds at a cash register.
That's why self-checkout's great.
It is. And I use
Unless
it
there's
whenever I
people
can.
that don't
And
know how to
again,
work.
when I see people at self-checkout who aren't hustling, I'm like,
Yeah.
get a fucking move
Yeah,
on.
I agree. I like getting in and out as well.
Yeah.
Not the burger. I do like getting that.
Which is
too.
weird because I'm a generally pretty patient person.
Yeah.
I don't know if you are.
I think I am.
After hearing these stories,
But you
I don't
don't
know if you are.
He doesn't like ride lines either, though, too. He was on For Your Amusement.
Yeah.
He was talking about ride lines.
Well, I will say ride lines have gotten out of control.
Yeah,
I think
if you're not playing the game right, no.
Well,
yeah.
it's, with the technology that exists nowadays, I think when there are systems that exist that should negate these things, that's when I get impatient and think
That's
it's
fair.
silly.
And I feel like Disney's just doing it because ride lines are part of the magic of the park,
Because
right?
where
Like,
else are they going to shuttle all the you
Well,
got to
yeah.
herd all those cattle somewhere?
Yeah, there needs to be space in the park. Otherwise, everyone if you get rid of lines completely, you have to. Where do those people go? It cuts down the capacity
I
of
mean,
the park.
cut down the capacity then. Don't let people in.
Well, they're not going to do that. 'Cause
But shouldn't they?
they should, but they won't.
Mouse needs money, baby.
Yeah.
I've had a similar situation. I didn't leave stores because of it, but I was on the search for kumquats because it's my new favorite fruit, and
Delightful fruit.
it's a very short season for those.
Yeah.
And so I ended up going to like 4 or 5 different grocery stores just looking for kumquats.
Yeah.
I'd walk in, look at the fruit, and then leave. People must have thought I was insane.
Did you find them? Where'd you find them?
I found them.
Shout
at,
out the store.
I found them on Ralph's. No, I found them at Ralph's on Laurel Canyon.
Oh.
And that was nice because you know how on Google Maps you could do that. This is back when we were at the old office. You could do that thing where you have your destination and then in between you could do add stop.
Love
Yes,
that.
yes.
And I just added stops for all the grocery stores. I predicted this
Nice.
would happen, so I had put like 4 in there that were along the route. And then the last one. And I came home with a paper bag full of kumquats.
I love a little paper bag.
So good.
A little paper bag for produce.
Mario was so happy.
Looks like
I
a
was so
little
happy
lunch
too.
bag.
We love kumquats. We have a kumquat tree now.
Oh, nice.
They're
What?
sprouted.
So you don't even need to go to the store anymore.
Now I could just
No,
get
he
them
will because
straight-
he's going to eat them all.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat them all. But
Yeah.
for that first harvest, straight from the source,
Yeah.
delicious. Mm.
Straight from-
From the,
Anyways, let's take another break. Okay.
Whoa.
Do you have any more dishing you need to do
No,
on
I think
cherry
that was
tomatoes?
clean. I think that was clean. I went to Lazy Acres this morning on the way to the office, and this coffee is from there.
Oh, really? I thought that was Starbucks.
No, you know what's funny is I went to Lazy Acres and I bought some coffee, some ground coffee for the coffee machine here.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll just make it at the office. And then I was on my way out. They have a little cafe there. It's a lovely little store. And I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? I'll get a hot coffee here. Why not? And it's a good thing I did because the power's out and I couldn't have made coffee here anyway.
That's right.
It was a miracle.
Oh, that's right.
Why-
Because I was like, I can't wait to get coffee after this. I'm gonna have to walk to fucking
Yeah.
some store near here.
Yeah.
Can
There's
you
a Starbucks near
explain
here.
to me how you would leave Lazy Acres, put everything back, not even want to support their business, and then go back a few weeks later to buy coffee beans and coffee? When there's a million other
That's a good
You
point.
places you could go.
That's a good point.
I'm settled down now. I got married since then. I think I've cooled my heels a bit.
Were you trying to make up for your rage, like your unbridled rage, and make amends with Lazy Acres?
I think I've had time to heal and kind of forgive them. And
Like your hands.
I've been there twice since then. What did I go there the other day for?
Twice.
Tea, I think.
Have you checked for cherry tomatoes each time you've gone there?
I have. They don't have them.
Good to know. We'll see.
Yeah.
That's
I didn't check today. I went the last time I was there and they didn't have them because I was like, was it a fluke? Surely it was.
I wonder if the
still
owner of that grocery store is a fan of this podcast
Well,
and
honestly,
listens to this.
I'm going there now, so
And maybe they'll change their policy to carry cherry tomatoes.
I'll tell you what, it's a charming little store, and it's pretty close to the office. I encourage. We could all take a trip there at some
Well, I was
point.
going to say after this, there's a new cafe that just opened up near here. Do you guys want to go check that out for some coffee?
Sure.
Oh, hell yeah.
What's
I'm
it called?
I don't even know.
That is the interesting thing about this new office is there's not a lot of close coffee to it.
Now there is.
Well, really?
It looks pretty nice.
Oh.
Byron and I walked over there yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah, because Starbucks is the closest thing that we got here, and
Over
it's
the
like
one
a
over in
10-minute
Gower
walk.
Gulch?
No,
Yeah.
this is like half the distance to that. So it's about a 4 to 5 minute walk.
Ooh.
Anyways, I wanted to talk about Bigfoot
Yes.
because, well, also we filmed something regarding Bigfoot recently.
We survival mode. We played a game where we
We-
hunt Bigfoot.
It's a total. I mean, whatever. Yeah,
Who cares?
it's good. It's an amazing game.
We had a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Spoiler for the next season of survival mode is that we got 2 machines. So Ryan and I were able to do. It's a better setup across the board.
It is.
They did great work in sort of upgrading the whole season. But we do play multiple games that have multiplayer, so we play together.
I have to say that was my favorite game.
It was
of the
really
season.
fun.
It was really funny.
Though we also had fun in the other game.
Yeah, but I think that game was probably the loudest I've ever screamed in a game. I was so
It
scared
was really fun.
by this, and I don't get scared by video games. But
No.
this guy, this Bigfoot guy, he's a crafty one. He's out there to kill you.
It was a really, really fun game.
But it's funny because that's especially pertinent because right now, I don't know if you saw this, there is a very recent Bigfoot sighting.
In Colorado?
That is pretty.
It was from a train, right?
Yeah, did you see it?
Yeah.
I did see that.
Looks like a person in a suit.
I mean,
But though the costume looks exactly like
the Patterson Gimlin footage.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull it up because
Yeah, pull it up
again.
again.
I saw it already, but I want to see it again. Was it the video?
Yeah, it's
footage?
the
And
video
there's
footage.
No photo. Right?
There's
It's just video.
this person on a train. They're somewhere. It looks pretty remote in the mountains in Colorado, I believe, and I could be wrong about Colorado, but they are pointing their camera, just kind of like taking in the sights outside as the train is passing by this mountain range, and in the mountain. You see this giant ape-like creature that's walking on its hind legs like a human, like Bigfoot, and it kind of like, does it wave? It feels like it waves at the...
I don't think it waves.
It does a little walk around. It takes a little seat here, like on a porter potty situation.
Wait, let me...
I think it just sits on a
Wait,
rock.
Steve,
it just sits down.
I want to take another look at this and we could put this up on in the video podcast for those who are watching and those listening. I encourage you to pull it up when you stop your car.
It does look over. Oh, is it a wave? I can't tell.
It looks like a little wave.
It's very pixelated.
Wait, let me see. It's definitely clearer than the Patterson Gimlin footage. Patterson Gimlin footage, by the way, that's the name of the guy who shot the footage of Bigfoot that's the most famous. It's basically the Zapruder film for Bigfoot heads. And it's this old, I think it's 16 millimeter film of Bigfoot walking in the forest. And people to this day debate whether or not it's fake. I'm not quite sure if it's fake. It looks pretty real. It's hard to tell because it's so old, but I'm very encouraged by seeing new footage shot on an iPhone of Bigfoot because to this point, everything's been blurry. So
what's he doing in Colorado?
At this point, if I took this video, I would say turn the train around.
There's a Bigfoot out there.
Yeah.
We're going to go catch Bigfoot right now.
I'd be screaming, that's Bigfoot.
Yes.
Everyone look out your window right now. It's Bigfoot.
I don't know. It's just odd that they just kept going.
But it's possible that this person was so in shock by what they were seeing that they were like, what the... Like, have you ever seen A Nightmare at 20,000 Feet? That's that Twilight Zone short where William Shatner's sitting or in the new version, John Lithgow is sitting in a plane, and they see this gremlin-like creature. A gremlin is like something that people in World War II claim they saw on planes, and it's walking on the wing of the plane, and he's freaking out. And this guy is such a little stinker because every time he tries to get someone to look out the window, he kind of just flies away, and he just comes back, and then he's just making it so that only this guy sees him. And he's just torturing him.
That would be, yeah.
And I kind of feel like maybe this is a scenario where this guy looking at this train window saw this Bigfoot creature and was wondering, is he crazy? Probably look back at the footage to see if he saw what he actually saw. And then, of course, uploaded it to the internet. Do we have the footage?
Yeah. Do you want to see it?
I want to see it. Can you pass that phone over to me?
Here, let me get another look at this big boy.
Yeah.
I looked at it this morning, and I needed to talk. Oh my God, it's so
A
good.
Florida man captured it. Oh no, I'm not so sure.
It looks like, and
he takes a seat.
I say this lovingly, Shane. It looks like Shane put on a Bigfoot costume.
Yeah,
and
it
is
really
walking
does
around.
look like a costume.
Dude, this is such good footage. You know what's crazy too is I could actually see why that Bigfoot would be walking in that area, because when he sits down, or she, whatever this Bigfoot is, when that Bigfoot sits down, it's sitting in like these kind of this brush that is the same color as the coat of fur that it is. So it's very camouflaged. So it would make sense to me that that Bigfoot would be walking in that area. Also, if it is in fact a suit and this is a hoax, that's a very elaborate hoax. For someone to buy a train ticket, have their friend dress up in a suit, go sit in this brush area where they know the train passes by and just wait. Like, I'm not saying that's impossible, but it just seems like a lot. Like, what do they have to gain from that? Like, they're not going to get famous off of that clip.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they could, because they did name the other footage Patterson Gimlin based on the dude who took it. But I mean, in today's day and age, I don't think this person is going to get famous off of that footage.
Could this have been just like mocked up in After Effects? Right?
No, it looks legit. I think Shane's right. It's either a suit or it's the real deal.
I think it's just a suit.
It looks so real, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Are you looking at it right now?
Yeah,
I feel like Bigfoot wouldn't foot around like this.
He wouldn't foot. I mean, Shane,
I want to believe in Bigfoot.
You've always long believed that Bigfoot could be real because it's meat and bone.
Yeah.
Animals
can be real, you know.
But the thing
Ghosts
is,
can't.
if I'm just trying to think of like, if it's real, why is this the first time we've seen him? Why is this the first time we've seen Bigfoot out in the wild?
You know, Survivor Man Les Stroud, who I am a fan of.
Oh my God, that clip is so funny. I know. Tell them about the
He's
clip.
been out in the brush quite a bit. I missed that show. Survivor Man was a really fun show.
Can you explain what Survivor Man was?
Survivor Man was Les Stroud, who is, I believe, a Canadian dude.
Yeah.
Who would go out into the wilderness and just survive by himself, but he would film it all. So there were no camera crews like Bear Grylls would. Everybody else would go out with a camera crew. Les Stroud would take it all out there by himself, which is the same appeal of Alone, which is what sort of scratched the itch for me. But that was a great show. He's sort of a weird guy, and he would go out and just survive alone for like 10 days at a time. And he is fairly convinced that he heard a Bigfoot at some point. Yeah. I don't know if I can't remember if he saw one up in the Pacific Northwest somewhere.
He was in
about scans.
He said he was like in a
I think he
tent.
might have been in Alaska, even like southern parts of Alaska, where the thing. He claims he heard like a large primate sort of hooting, which he
he does a little impression of
I
it.
think he does. Yeah,
He said he was in the tent. He just heard like, whoa. Like it's a really funny clip.
The issue seems to be that if it's a stable population of a species, then you would think we would see it more.
Which makes me...
If there's so few of them,
yeah,
to the point where we barely see them in the wild, then how does that population remain?
It's possible, though, that this is a singular creature.
I don't think that stands.
Well, because think about it. What's the longest lifespan of an animal? Like 200 years? Like turtles live for
turtles, yeah.
Yeah, so like it's possible, like if there's something that's living that long, Patterson Gimlin footage was in the 50s.
Tortoises live that long because they don't do anything though.
Well, Bigfoot could be possibly not doing shit, like just sitting in a cave all day.
I don't know.
That could
Bigfoot's out walking. I don't think
how-
Bigfoot could live that long.
and
Why? Well, you don't know
How long
that.
does let's look at how, like an average gorilla lifespan, because
Well, I mean-
that's probably the equivalent, right?
That's true. I mean, if you're thinking like Bigfoot is some sort of like offshoot of human DNA, then perhaps then he would have a similar lifespan to a human, which would be max expectancy of like 100 years.
100,
Gorillas
125,
tend to
200.
live 35 to 40 years,
I think
which scans because sometimes like the bigger an animal, the shorter its lifespan.
I would say Bigfoot is closer to human DNA than it is primate, like or like to like what would be considered like a gorilla or a monkey DNA.
I mean, I don't see him, strumming a ukulele or anything.
But
I
he's
think
walking around kind of like
He's
more
covered in hair, Ryan.
but he's walking around like a human, more human like. We're basing everything we know about him off of 2 videos that we've now seen.
Yeah.
This video that we just saw and the video from Patterson Gimlin. I think it's possible that we could be looking at the same guy. But
I don't know. I don't think it's real anymore.
Bigfoot
Yeah.
specifically.
I want it to be, but I don't see how it.
Yeah.
I would love it. That would be such a treat.
But I'm saying if there is only a singular one, it would make sense why we don't see Bigfoot that often. And it would make sense that the few times we do see Bigfoot, it's just walking around. Like, which means that the other time it could be just like hibernating like a bear or just chilling. I don't think Bigfoot's some like master of secrecy. He's not like, some espionage expert.
But then Bigfoot would have to survive all of the natural causes of death, all of the, the elements.
I guess you would have to wonder then what Bigfoot feeds on. I know Bigfoot. Some people think that Bigfoot is
Berries.
like big on crushing people's heads with rocks. That's why I wore a
I
helmet.
would guess Bigfoot is an omnivore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he could be
yeah.
eating berries or like like a.
What did monkey eat? What gorilla? He eats mostly leaves. Sometimes his own children.
Sometimes. Well, I don't know about that. Is that true?
I think so.
That's fucked up.
Are gorillas cannibals? I feel like when they're stressed or if they're warring.
All right. Well, before we get to that, let's get a word from our sponsors. And we're back.
Wild gorillas only eat plants and fruit along with the odd insect, as far as scientists know.
Also,
Though chimpanzees do kill.
the monkeys are scary, dude. That's why if I ever saw Bigfoot, I'd run because monkeys are vicious.
Yeah.
You ever seen that scene in Ad Astra? Oh, you
Yes,
have,
yes,
of
that's
course.
a
Steven,
baboon.
you ever seen Ad Astra, Steven?
No.
There's a scene in Ad Astra when a wild baboon is trapped on a spaceship.
There's 2 baboons.
And boy, are they scary.
I didn't even put that together the first time I saw that movie. There's 2 baboons.
They know to rip your dick off, too.
What?
They go for the face and the groin.
They go for they're going for the face and they're going for the corn on the cob. And they're ripping it off.
They know the goods.
Very, very scary. You ever seen one of those with alopecia? Big muscles. You never seen a bald chimpanzee?
Oh, I have. There's like the mean ones that are in Rise of the
There's-
Planet of the
it's-
Apes and stuff.
I gotta
Yes,
see
yes,
this.
yes.
I gotta
The
see
mean
this.
Search
Koba.
Alopecia.
hairless
Is Koba?
chimpanzee.
Koba?
Koba.
Koba.
Koba, very scary.
Koba is.
Remember when Koba goes up to the guys and he's like playing with the guns and they're like, ha ha ha.
And then he
just
starts
shoots
shooting them all? Oh,
Yeah.
dude,
God,
incredible.
this
Those
movie's
movies
so
are
fucking
great.
good.
Oh my god.
I feel like those
Look how
movies.
strong they are.
Are you watching videos of chimpanzees ripping people's dicks off?
No, he's just.
I didn't realize there
he's
was a
looking up
compilation. I'll have to look that up.
Hairless chimps.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's not as interesting to me.
That's why Nope. I love Nope so much.
Could you imagine?
Oh, sorry. I just saw the.
Yeah, the meat and potatoes.
Yes. Yes.
The noise.
Well, what you want him to wear Hanes?
Well, no, it's just. I mean, I get startled every time I see my dog's dick. Still.
What?
I don't know what. It's there.
It
Hey,
doesn't sound pleasant.
keep it away.
Yeah.
Kinda-
Well, also like
Tammy, can
my
we get
first
some
dog
pants?
was a female dog, and then the second one was a boy, and so just having to learn the difference.
Put
between a
little
boy
jeans
dog and a
on
girl dog.
your
Put little jeans.
put
on
jeans
it.
on him
I
like
can't.
Cra-
I have to take it off every time.
like Crash
take him
Bandicoot.
outside.
Have him wear little jeans.
Well, what else? What else are we here?
I here's what I have to say too about Bigfoot. I think there's 2 things to glean from these videos as an investigator. Because Shane and I are investigators. Steven, I'm not sure. Clearly, Steven's still trying to find his dog's penis, or trying not to find it. Apparently,
Yes, I prefer to not look for things I don't want to find.
Is it only when it's in Red Rocket mode?
I've never had a dog. I don't know.
You know what a Red Rocket is, though, right?
I don't know what red rocket mode is, but I'm guessing.
It's when a dog gets aroused and then the red comes out of their pee-pee. It's like a dog boner.
I see.
When you were a kid, you'd always go Red Rocket. And then
I'm glad I missed out on that in my childhood.
Yeah, I also
Doesn't
did
sound
not
like
go
a
through
good
that.
time.
no, it was weird.
You know what was weird about? When we were kids, it was like normal for people to like ball tap each other. Like it's so weird that was a
Yeah,
thing.
I never really got the ball tapping.
That was not a thing in my
in your
group
friend
of
group.
friends ever.
Well, I had the friends I had. They were like
They were ball tappers.
yeah, and
Ball-
it's like if I didn't accept it, I wouldn't have any friends. So
Accept it.
It's big in the sports world too.
Yeah.
I think
This
it's
is
'cause
what I'm talking about.
You're
Call
like
of
in
Duty.
you're like in locker
You guys
rooms.
turned into ball tappers when you were playing Call of Duty.
We're not ball tapping
You're
each
ball
other in
tappers.
Call of Duty.
Yeah.
are
like-
you teabagging though?
Don't project
Ryan,
your PE.
Ryan, are
nightmares
you a
on us.
teabagger in first person shooter games?
No, but I have done it once because for like ironic purposes.
And teabagging, by the way, is when you like go over a dead body and you like crouch. So
You know, no. So people do that like every time, and it's weird. But I did do it one time. I'm like, oh, look at I'm a fucking gamer doing a teabag, but never like in seriousness.
okay.
I just do I have an emote when I kill people in Fortnite where I just howl like a werewolf.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyways, as I was saying though, as an investigator, if you look at the two videos, I think we could safely make an assumption that Bigfoot is a woman. I would say, right?
I don't know where this
Why?
came from.
Because you don't see his penis.
You don't see anything. It's not a clear.
He's kind of walking in a way where you would see it in the Patterson Gimlin.
No,
footage.
I don't think so.
And in this other footage, I don't see what appears to be any kind of dong. I'm telling you what, if you saw me standing out there in that field from that train, you probably see a dong.
Yeah, but you're also hairless, or not hairless, but relatively compared to Bigfoot.
I don't think it's. I don't think you could tell.
I mean, I have to look at the footage again and zoom in, but I'm pretty.
Why
sure.
don't you try and recreate it for the viewers at home?
Let's
You
do
prove your point.
a side by side comparison?
Yeah.
Can you see dong?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a safe assumption. Or maybe Bigfoot doesn't have genitalia at all. Bigfoot is,
Maybe.
I don't think it would have to.
and not if it's one person.
Where did it come from?
I don't know. I don't know.
This is what I'm dealing with.
I don't know.
You can't just. This scans though that you're like, yeah, it just exists.
Actually, no. You know what? I think I do know where it came from.
I have
a theory.
I have a theory as well.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
My-
so excited right now.
My theory is that the evolutionary chart. At
Mhm.
some point, there was some sort of mutation, and maybe this mutation happened very recently, within the last 100 years, and this primate, or didn't go quite to the primates of today or humans today, and it just kind of stayed like a mutant.
You went full X-Men.
Mutations don't happen that abruptly and
But
Or in
Bigfoot,
that way.
But Bigfoot doesn't
Yeah.
happen. So if it's real,
Right, so it's probably not real. But mutations aren't just like, oh, oops, I
I'm
gave birth to
Spider-Man.
yeah, right. That's not how it works.
but aren't
It's-
people like born with like 3 eyeballs or something like that every now and then?
maybe sure
Like in
But not to that extent of Bigfoot.
yeah,
though.
not a big. That's like an entirely separate species. It's not like I gave birth to a baby who also has wings.
well, if I was like 7'5" or something like that, and my parents weren't tall at all, which I believe actually Yao Ming's parents weren't that tall. But there's a basketball
They
player.
must have been so freaked
No, they're tall
out.
though.
There's
They
basketball.
must
There's
have
a
been like,
basketball
"What
player
the
whose
fuck?"
parents aren't that tall, and this
Yeah.
kid is enormous. Like, so it's like possible that there could be something that pops out. This could be some sort
Out
of
of the gene
primate
pool.
that is like larger than usual, and maybe Bigfoot is just a very, very large ape of some sort.
Well, there's no other. The other issue is there's no other gorillas or primates.
Yeah.
That look like Bigfoot.
in the region.
Yeah.
All right, so here's my theory: is that Bigfoot actually can also live in water.
That's pretty good. I like that a lot. I've never heard that before, but I like it.
Because, for example,
Like he could
Loch
breathe
Ness
underwater?
Monster is something I'm more inclined to believe.
Though they did
Because-
just didn't they just map out that entire, or was that Nessie? Or is that the same thing, right? Loch Ness and
Yeah.
Nessie, yeah.
yeah, Nessie. They did like a pretty thorough search recently, and there was nothing there.
But I'm more willing to believe an animal lives underwater that we don't know about, or
That's true.
Bigfoot is able to go between land and water, and that could have been, generations of mutations that we don't know about.
So you're going with the 97% theory, which is like, what is it like 97% of the world isn't discovered because it's underwater? Like that's like
Yeah,
that,
something like that.
like the
yeah.
oceans, because the ocean covers such a large portion of the planet. I forget the percentage. It's high. It's somewhere around there.
So you think Bigfoot lives under the sea?
Can both live in water and on
Like
land?
Atlantis.
I don't think so, man.
I don't know. Maybe
It's an interesting theory. It would explain why we
no.
don't see Bigfoot.
No.
But we
No,
have
you guys.
seen. So unless you like, okay. So what is
Shut
your?
how else? Like,
It's not Bigfoot's probably not.
well,
real.
I'm saying if it was
If
real,
it
that
was
would be
real,
my
yeah.
only.
You
the
think
only
it
reason I
lives-
think it
it
could
spends
happen.
most of his life. A
Some.
clearly bipedal, like terrestrial animal. You think
Like
mostly lives
like
underwater.
a crocodile can live, water and on land.
Yeah, man.
I guess like a hippo. Is
Hippo,
one.
yeah. I don't know. I mean,
But those are clearly built to exist.
Yeah, in the water,
water.
they got that slimy skin.
They got that slimy skin.
I think people often assume that I think every cryptid is real. I'd like to think they're all real. I'm willing to investigate each possibility.
Well, there's also like tiers of cryptids though, because
Yes.
it's like something like Bigfoot, which is essentially a large ape.
yes.
That I can be like, sure, I'd love that to be real. I think there's a world where it's plausible. I honestly don't know the extent to which
But how is it plausible? That's what Steven and I are getting at.
Well-
Because Shane often claims he likes to think things are real, but then whenever it comes down to actually theorizing, he's like, no,
I don't
they're
know.
not real. And I think it's because he's scared of sounding stupid.
No. It's because I don't know enough about like what efforts have been made by scientists and researchers to like
I'm scared to
like
sound
look
stupid.
around for. No, I'm not. I'm not scared to sound stupid. I know how stupid I am, and I'm not going to pretend to be smart about something.
No, but that's
which I
not what
think you
but
often
aren't
do
you,
with
like-
ghosts.
No, that's not what a theory is. Someone is like what Steven and I are doing is not like this is exactly what's going to happen. It's like, what if this was it? Like that.
To be
yeah, anybody can just
to
say,
be
yeah,
fair-
what if a Bigfoot lives in a pineapple under the sea?
That's totally different.
it's also your job, Shane, to investigate these things.
No,
Like,
it's not.
it-
It's not my job to do
You
that.
see what I'm dealing with?
It
Steven?
is.
This is
No,
exactly what I have to
literally
deal with.
what you do. Mystery files, ghost files.
Yeah, no, we talk about shit and make jokes about it. It's not my job.
Highly
I'm not
researched
a scientist.
Stories.
It's primatologist's job to do
We're all
this.
scientists inside.
He's incapable of theorizing because if he,
No, I'm just being responsible.
no one is coming from this podcast because Shane Madej said a theory. Well, Shane thinks that like when you put out a theory, it's not even something that you necessarily think. It's a possibility. You're throwing it out there.
Here's what I said. I did say that cryptids who you could file under like that has the characteristics of an animal that could be real. I would love for those to be real. Bigfoot, I think, is plausible. I don't know the extent to which researchers and scientists have actually looked. Maybe they've been like, I would love to talk to a primatologist or someone who I could ask, like, is it reasonable based on what we've explored in this world?
Yeah.
For there to only be these two sightings of something? Or, as a scientist, would you say, like, no, if there's a species that exists with a stable population, you're laughing at me wanting to ask legitimate questions about if a stable population exists, should we have seen more of it?
I'm laughing at you thinking highly enough of this podcast that we would
I'm not
get
thinking.
we would dial
This
up
is
the
how I-
Rolodex of scientists that we
No.
know. Be like, if we could get a primatologist to come on Pod Watcher
no.
and have me interview him about the possibility
That's
of
not-
Bigfoot, then
that's-
yes, I will throw out a
That's
theory.
not even what I'm saying.
But
I'm
until that day happens, until we could reproduce this in a lab, I will offer no opinions on Bigfoot
No,
because
that's-
Pod Watcher
that's
is
not
taken
even-
seriously in the scientific community.
That's not what I'm saying at all. That's how I want to go about it and would be curious to know about it. And like I said, I think it's plausible. Something like Mothman, no, that's not real. Mothman's not real.
Yeah, it's probably not
Do you believe that aliens exist?
Yes.
Okay. I'm right there with you.
Do I think that we'll see them in our lifetime? Probably not. Do I think they visited Earth?
Not even the little Mexico
I don't
aliens?
think so.
I don't think so.
I love those little Mexican aliens.
They're funny.
Yeah.
Those guys.
But the point being,
Was that proven to be fabricated, or is that still under investigation?
it's I think
I
it
saw
it,
someone being like, "It's a pinata."
it looks pretty fabricated to me, and the fact that we haven't had any like officials come out and say it's real to me means it's probably
It was a really impressive press conference.
It's sure, yeah.
It looked legitimate.
But like same thing about that. Like I could offer an opinion about that. Like, oh, maybe it's real. No one's gonna take what I say here and put it into some.
I'm not worried about
some
that.
sort of
You seem to
peer-reviewed-
think that me being curious about what experts have to say about something is like me worried about staking my reputation on
but
this.
here's what you don't
This is just how I think about
This
things.
is not what you don't understand what I'm saying. I'm not curious what experts have to say about it. I'm curious what you have to say about it. But your thing is always like,
I've told you what I have to say.
you said it's plausible, and I say how.
This, I think, is a good illustration of how we think about things. And
No,
I do.
I just want some version of like, just give an idea of how it could be plausible. Like, have an imagination about it. Of like, what could like it's underwater. That's a funny thing. No one's gonna be.
That's
like,
not plausible. There. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Right,
but I'm saying you get what I'm saying, right, Steven?
No, I get what both of you guys are saying, mom and dad. Okay, so
I don't understand the argument here. I'm just
It's
stating
like-
my opinion.
Your opinion is not to have one. It seems like
No, it is to have one. I think it could be plausible as a creature that is meat and bone.
Yes, and
How-
I'm just saying. I'm just like want one.
I would be curious to know
do you
if
have a
it's
theory?
reasonable to not have seen them more than twice based on the characteristics that would be required of a stable population of a species.
Yes, but I'm saying if we saw it twice and it is in fact real, can you think of a possibility of how that's true?
No.
Now,
That's what
at
I'm-
this
fine? I
point,
don't
I
know.
feel like you're making a point.
No,
You
You
I
exactly.
feel like,
Yes,
I
you.
feel like now you're just doing it to make the point.
This isn't what I deal with all the time.
But
Like,
before that, it was like, oh, I don't really know if I want to say something. But now you're just saying this because it feels like you want to just hammer the point home to Ryan that you're not going to have a theory.
I do have it. I don't understand what we're talking about right now. I think Ryan's not content with my theory, which is
it doesn't seem like Steven
which is to
either.
say we cannot know unless we talk to people who actually have knowledge about these things. Is that about it for this week? I think we're all right.
Oh
we're
my
good.
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well,
Yeah,
If you ever
plausible.
if you ever-
Plausible.
all right. Well, that is it for this episode of Pod Watcher.
Happy Halloween.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Make sure you follow the pod on YouTube and subscribe. We have a video version of this podcast if we haven't made that clear. It helps us keep making the show if you subscribe. And if you're listening to this on the audio version, make sure you subscribe there and rate the podcast because that also helps us keep this thing going. But until then, I guess we'll see you all next time, Monday, as usual.
Farewell.
See ya.
Bye-bye.